Today, I'm going to make a video about making a video. So today's real question is, are videos an effective way of converting more prospects to sales upon your website? Well, the answer has to be a resounding yes, and I will explain to you why. If I think back to my childhood, I remember that newspapers predominantly were black and white. No, if you go back far enough, they were all black and white. Magazines were colour, or at least the front page was colour. But if I think back to my grandmother, she would have like women's magazines where not only was the front cover in colour, but inside, if you were to look at recipes, I'm sure there were photographs of cakes in there that were definitely colour. Why am I telling you this? Well, I remember when colour was first introduced into newspapers. First of all, it was spot colour. So if you were to have a display ad on the front page or on the back page, you could take advantage of these spot colours and there would be a bit of colour in your advertising. And that looked reasonably impressive. It looked expensive. It looked like something that was worth attracting your attention. Then all of a sudden, there were full colour display advertising. I remember the very first time I saw it in my hometown, in the local paper, which was called The Citizen, and there was a very beautiful display ad. I think it was on the front page. And of course, it was colour. And for that specific reason, it grabbed my attention. Whether I was interested in that product or service or not, I don't even remember what it was, it got my attention. And it was after it got my attention and I had a look at it, and I remember the design was particularly good. It was very well designed because obviously it was a special occasion, the first colour advert. They must have spent a little bit more money on the design. And yes, it looked very good. And I was interested for a second, but maybe because of my age, it was not something I was interested in. But it definitely attracted my attention. Right now, today, video is in the same position. It's not so amazingly special. Yes, quite a few companies out there are using video now, but it is a medium that does allow to somehow encapsulate what you can put in writing. They say a picture can capture 1,000 words. Well, a video is 30 pictures a second. So it makes sense that obviously it does allow you to deliver a much better message, and it's the closest thing you've got to sitting in front of the customer and giving a live demonstration. Now, as a branding specialist, this might surprise you, but there's one thing I don't like in marketing the most, and that is overselling. So not everything should be a sales pitch, and video allows you to really introduce yourself, your image, who you are, what you represent to your target audience, allow them to empathize with you and make a decision if you or your company are the type of organization and are the type of people that they want to work with. So from that perspective, video is particularly important. So let's start talking about video tips. Well, the good news is, it doesn't necessarily have to cost a huge amount of money. If you are a one-man band where you are effectively the company, it is a personal brand of yours where you are offering a particular bespoke product or service, then I would say your videos don't necessarily have to be that polished or something that you would expect to have James Bond starring in for you. You don't have to actually spend that much. And you don't even necessarily have to spend a huge fortune on videography or lighting. What I would say is sound is a lot more important than you think. Even if the quality of the video is not as high as it could be, you can somehow, especially with the likes of YouTube, be forgiven, especially if the message you are delivering is more important than the actual picture itself. However, and I don't know why, I'm sure there's psychology in this, we are not so forgiving with bad sound. You see, at the moment, I'm using a miniature lapel condenser mic. It's just more convenient for this type of recording environment. They're not that cheap, but they're not that expensive either. And it's something that, as a video maker or someone who's producing videos for your organization, it's a must-have. And a decent camera. But then again, phones are getting so good with video right now. The only thing you really do need is proper editing. And the amount of time it actually takes to edit it is still cheaper to actually outsource that particular element. And before you do start making any video, it's a good idea to speak to a video editor first, explain your ideas to them. They can perhaps give you some ideas, and between the two of you, you can make the video, you can then pass it on, outsource it to us. I can then turn that into a nice polished video with some nice effects, send it back to you, and hey presto, you've got a nice video that matches the quality of your website and everybody is happy. Now don't forget, videos also have to try and call to action. They have to make the customer believe they have to do something. And that has to also be in the video, the same way it would be within written content, for example. Now, I did mention before, lighting can be quite important, but not necessarily. You see, lighting, even the most expensive lighting we have out there, is designed to mimic sunlight. And sunlight is free. So if you want, there's nothing stopping you making your videos outside. There's nothing more accurate than real sunlight. So give it a go. Now, I tend to use a nice Canon DSLR. You don't actually have to do that. But if you do, it will also get you into the habit of making videos more on a regular basis. And so that might be a good enough reason why to get one. And as I say, they're not particularly expensive. Now, if you look at traditional media, as I say, it's all about grabbing someone's attention. And after you've grabbed their attention, they can decide whether what you are telling them, what you are explaining to them in the video is for them or not. Well, it's not so difficult with the internet these days because, to be honest, if they are on your website, if they are reading your content, if they are watching your videos, then they are already interested. Remember, if it wasn't for the need for the content that's being delivered to the audience to be relevant, Google would not exist. So it's for that particular reason that once they're at your website, it is the image you are portraying, it is the content you are writing, it is the photography, it's the videos, it's all of this encapsulated together that will entice the customer or the prospect to buy from you instead of somebody else. So I would like to say once again, video is particularly important. I've known this for a particularly long time. If you actually have a look at technology as a whole, if you were to look at the standard bell curve that you get for the introduction of new technologies, you will actually see that at the beginning you get the innovators, then you get the early adopters, then you get the late adopters, and then you get what we call at the end laggards. And laggards are the people who wait until they have no choice, little to no choice at all. Well, right now you do have a choice. Videos are not mandatory. You still will get a few sales if you don't have videos. But why wait until you start losing sales and you have no choice and then start making the videos, and then they won't have as much impact because customers will slowly but surely become anesthetized to them, and then we have to wait and look for the next best thing. Right now, video is the next best thing. And by getting into it now, it basically means that not only will you have a higher conversion rate in sales for today, it means that eventually, when it does become mandatory, you will already be there and you won't be losing any sales. Well, I hope you find this video informative. I hope you find it of interest. If you would like me to give you specific advice for your business, then please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you for listening.